Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 8 of the GPVWC World Sports Series. We're here for the first time in the World Sports Series. Spa-Francorchamps, and would you believe it, it is raining. My name is James, and alongside me once again this week is Mr. Lewis McGlade. And well, at the beginning of this qualifying session, Lewis, we've had a number of cars heading out onto track for, maybe remind the audience, this is Super Pole, so everyone's only got one chance of this. A lot of people have been getting caught up in each other's slipstream and racing lines already, but there's some, thankfully, have actually taken the sensible decision of leaving it either a bit later or getting out well ahead to get some good laps. And one of those people at the moment is Oscar Hardwick, who has been rather dominant these past couple of races.
Yep, indeed he has. Oscar Hardwick just coming up with the first sector split. He has been looking good through the previous practice sessions. And there was a huge rush out to the pits, as it wasn't wet. It wasn't too wet at the beginning of the session. It was about 2% wet. It's gone up to 9 at the moment, but there is this massive flux of people to get out onto the track at the moment before it could possibly get wetter in the session. The gamble with that is that it could get drier, but you know, with these one lap, when you've only got one lap, it's kind of like, you don't want to risk it. When the conditions are kind of marginal like this, it's go out when it's as dry as possible, and the 2% wetness at the beginning was a shout out to all of the drivers to get onto track at, you know, as early as possible. I still think, from what I've seen, Alex Cooper actually improved ever so slightly in the second sector. He went 0.08 faster than Hardwick, so I shall keep an eye on that, as Hardwick is going a bit wrong as he just passes the second sector split. So Hardwick's looking a bit under threat at the moment.
Certainly is. Of course, the man here, it was really dominant in the 3 practice sessions, and who can blame him? He's got one of the best cars currently in terms of setup, and you might notice he's in slightly different colours actually this time around. That is because he has fully joined the Woods outfit. He's been sick and tired of having a teammate at Milk Racing, and he's sort of abandoned them now and sort of left Midnight to the Constructors' Crown, so they can't actually win it here today. Nevertheless, Oscar Hardwick comes across the line to post the provisional pole time of a 2:24.6. The man behind, Tom Parker, slots in behind, wow, almost 3 seconds off the pace. That is a huge time differential. I see Lucas Euler on his return to WSS. Since the last time out was in, what was it? It would have been Germany in 2012. Binned it already. And we've got a number of times flowing in here now. Alex Cooper goes second. Harley Hamlet on debut for CSG goes fourth. John Watkins fifth. Number of people flying in, but no one touching Hardwick at the moment.
No, Cooper was up in the first sector, but he dropped a little bit too much time. He dropped 2/10 consecutively in sectors 2 and 3, and it was just a little bit too much. To be fair to everyone on the grid, I think Cooper was particularly the only person who can go over Hardwick's time. He's the only person who can really challenge him in a title hunt. And we've discussed this pre-race that Oscar can theoretically win the WSS today, I believe, yes. Isn't it? If he outscores Cooper by a whopping total of 43 points, which is quite a large margin. I said that it is theoretically plausible. You know, if Cooper just has 2 really bad races and Oscar wins both of them, or Oscar wins one and gets a podium in the other, gets a second place in the other, then it is possible. It's just unlikely.
Right, so who do we have out on track at the moment? We currently have Dennis Schutz finishing off his lap, I believe, although my word, he's just gone wide of Parabolica, and his teammate Christoph Lichtenstein, I believe, is of Blanchimont. My word, what is going on with me? Blanchimont indeed. He's let his teammate off Lichtenstein through, and Lichtenstein's been good in WSS, you know, doing a decent job. Dennis Schutz, a bit of a controversial weekend on his debut in sim racing overall, and I tell you what, in practice he wasn't getting out of the way of many drivers either. But Christoph goes P12, and Dennis Schutz, as expected, that goes last out of the people who've completed the time. Will start ahead of Euler though, so we've got about 8 minutes left to go. The only man out on track at the moment is Chris Williamson, Woods Racing, now Oscar Hardwick's teammate. Usually on the slow one, so I don't think we'll be expecting him to rise to the top 10 as such. But who else do we have to go? We also have Menno Klont, who's making his debut here in the WSS for Inner Vision to partner Nico de Koning, who's qualified 13th. We also have Sven de Vries, who's currently on his outlap for CSG. We have Jason Muscat for Epic, who's yet to come out of the garage. And we also have Jordan Weeks here now.
Really wide at Eau Rouge.
Monza. Oh. Who's that?
Menno Klomp went really wide at Eau Rouge. I don't know if he's on his flying lap. It looks like he's just come out of the pits.
No, he was on his outlap.
So it's all good then. It's all good.
Yeah, so let's have a look. But yeah, going back to Jordan Weeks. Oh dear, what happened to Jordan Weeks there? I think he's hit the wall. He was looking very, very, very quick in practice, was Jordan. And FA overall have been showing a great turn of speed, especially at Monza, where if I remember correctly, they qualified 4th and 5th. But after hitting the wall, I don't think he'll be putting in old time here. But anyway, going back to Chris Williamson now. He is entering, as you rightly say, Blanchimont. James Kirk gets it right this time. Don't think he's going to be setting the world alight, but I mean, at this present time, Lewis, I can't quite see how anyone else is going to beat Oscar Hardwick's 224.6.
No, the conditions are getting a little bit wetter. We're at 15% wetness at the moment, and you know, most people would struggle to beat Oscar on a dry day, or you know, in similar, in the exact same conditions as what he set his lap in. But I don't see, with the conditions changing as they have, that anyone can actually touch Hardwick. But you know, I'd like to see it. Don't think it's going to happen. Hardwick's just been really on the ball in these cars, and Jordan Weeks getting a bit out of shape through the bus stop chicane there. But no, I don't think anyone could touch Oscar Hardwick's time unless it dries up really, really quickly before someone amazingly quick joins. But nevertheless, we've got a little while to wait until the qualifying session is over and see if anyone actually joins the server. I don't know if anyone will. Klont is going through the third sector now on his outlap. Muscat's in the pits. Sven de Vries is on his lap at the moment. And Jordan Weeks has binned it nearly.
Oh,
Rouge,
he's
he
absolutely
spun it out of Rouge, he has dropped it. Yeah, that's fair enough. Sven de Vries, though, on his lap. He's currently the only one setting an actual time as he heads through into the third sector.
Jordan Weeks, but let's have a look. He did really well, actually. His
Sven de Vries there, just a little bit out of shape as he heads into the bus stop chicane, but he seems okay. See where this puts him as he's about to cross the line. Puts him 9th. Good stuff there from Sven de Vries. Who else is out on a lap? Let's just have a quick look. Menno Klont, indeed, he's just started his lap as he heads up through Eau Rouge and then onto the Kemmel Straight. Got him on my live timing as well. Crosses the first sector split. He's 2.1 off of Hardwick, which is it's not too bad, especially considering I think he was brought in pretty much last second, and he just kind of wanted a little drive. So you know, why not? Let's just keep on board with him for a little bit as he heads down the hill. Goes a little bit wide there through the Bruxelles, and then down into the corner with no name. And he's dropped it. Is he going to keep it out of the barrier? Nope. He touched it a little bit. See if he keeps going. Yeah, it looks like he's going to turn it around and keep going. Well, at least he's trying to complete a lap. I don't think he'll be last if he out-qualifies Dennis Schutz, whose current time is 10 seconds off of the second lowest, which is Whoopke Hoekstra. Although that car of Menno Klont's not looking in the best of conditions at the moment. It is 24% wetness at the moment. It is getting wetter and wetter as he heads into the section. There seems like there's something wrong with that car. Probably just the tyres. I think he may have slicks on, and it's definitely turning into wet conditions out there at the moment. Doesn't look like there's anyone else trying to set a lap as Menno Klont is about to head through the Sector 3 split. 19.5 off, so he's going to be close with Dennis Schutz at the moment, and that's really the main bit we're going to be looking for. Menno Klont is he going to be at the back of the grid, or is he going to be basically P17 at the moment? As someone, I think's just... Oh, no, someone's just joined the server. It's fine. It's just me freaking out.
Is this a bit better for me?
It is. It is. You sound much clearer, James.
That's good. I found out the cause of my internet issues, so yeah, hopefully I'm back. I see Manu Klontz just finishing his lap, but went a bit wide and things. So
He spun going through the corner with no name. He does go at the back though. He dropped 0.3 behind Dennis Schutz. But yeah, he kind of tripped over himself going through the corner with no name. So wasn't too great. We do have a car out on track. That is Jason Muscat. I don't think he's on this lap. He's just about to start it as he heads into the bus stop chicane.
Indeed, and at the last, he's going to be the last car out on track, and he's going to make it in good time as well. So let's actually. Oh, okay, going a bit wide there. Yeah, I don't think Muscat is going to be challenging for pole position, but let's just give you a quick idea of what the order is at the moment as Muscat enters the bus stop chicane. We have Hardwick first, Cooper second, Parker third, Roy Schroten on his return since Monaco in fourth, David John Harley Hamnet fifth, Paul Joseph sixth, Paul Watkins seventh, Scott Beresford eighth, Ben De Vries in ninth, and John Watkins on his return from Istanbul rounds out the top 10 currently. So Muscat starting his lap, and there's a number of driver switches and changes which I'm sure we'll go through in the warm-up session, but he's coming down to one of the trickiest parts, wet conditions in these Porsches Eau Rouge. It's a really difficult corner to nail at best of times, and he's taken that very slowly actually. There's been a lot of people throwing it around, but Jason Muscat wanting to get his car round the lap rather than potentially binning it, because looking at some of the variations in time, he might have a lot to get here.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to point out that it is 22% wetness out on track at the moment. I think every driver who's gone out has had pretty different conditions to the previous driver, and it seems like Oscar's really set his lap at the right time, early on in the session.
He was the first car to set a time.
Exactly, he was the first car to set a time. He wasn't actually the first car out on track. There were a couple in front of him on his out lap, but he got past them. Some pulled off to try and get some clean air. But he set his lap at the right time when the track was pretty much at its driest. It's not been that dry ever since, and it's going down ever so slightly. And that was a uncomfortable moment there for Jason as he goes through Pouon. I can't imagine how uncomfortable this is, driving these cars which are notoriously difficult to drive. Oh, caught that. But yeah, these cars are difficult to drive in these difficult conditions on slick tyres. It's not going to be comfortable.
Well, they're difficult to drive full stop. There's no doubt about it. Out of all the series that we have here at GPVWC, in the main season as it is, these USS cars are by miles the most hated. They are free, you can't really push them unless you've got an absolutely perfect setup like Oscar Hardwick or Alex Cooper. They're just not very pleasant to drive, but at the same time, if you stick yourself in these series, there's definitely a chance to become a well-respected driver and to gain points as Muscat goes wide again at Blanchimont. I think this time is going to be setting the world alight.
But it's 30% wetness now. It's 30% wetness now. It's gone up quite much. 35% wetness. It is going up really quickly at the moment. So not in the best place there for Muscat. See where he goes.
That's not bottom, but close to it. P16 for Muscat, and that will be the ultimate row of the grid there. Oscar Hardwick, his 5th pole position of the year. The only other people who've managed to take pole position apart from him has been Alex Cooper and Petr Kasa, but at the end of the day, when it's 5 times out of 8, really cannot argue with this man's qualifying pace.
Yeah, he is a very quick driver, is Oscar. And he's only failed to score a win in one round, and that was Hungary. He's won technically half of the races on the calendar because he won 2 in Turkey. And every time he's scored a pole position, from what I can see, he's gone on to win a race that evening, and only on one occasion, that wasn't the first race, and that was last time out in Italy. So, you know, he's got a very good record as Oscar Hardwick, and starting from pole once again, you know, you've got to lean your head towards it being a bit of Oscar's leeway at the moment. But with the wet conditions, or the possible wet conditions that we're going to get, it's hard to actually say who's specifically going to win. But yeah, I think we should have hopefully an interesting race. We would like to see an interesting race, but I think Oscar's going to take this.
Well, let's put it this way, Lewis. We're talking about consistency, you know, drivers keeping it on track and stuff. It's 76% wetness on track. Now, the last time we saw this kind of monsoon weather was at the World GT race at Spa many months ago now, and the fatalities in terms of cars there was astonishingly high. A third of the grid crashed out, and the only time that's ever been beat in terms of World GT was Bathurst, when it was a much tighter track. If we have the same sort of attrition rate here at Spa, where a third of the grid crash out, I mean, how many people have we got in the serve? We have 21 cars, so quick maths, James, suggests that we would have 14 cars by the end.
We'd lose 6 or 7. 6, 7.
Yeah, basically, if you keep your wheels on track, you're more than likely going to score points.
Indeed. It's these tough conditions. They're uncomfortable for quite a lot of the drivers, but these cars are really strong. You know, you can really plough them into something and just keep on going. I'm not going to say that, you know, you could drive down the Camel Straight 200 miles an hour, not brake, not turn in, plough into a wall, and you'll drive away from it, because, you know, that's just silly. But I mean, like at the corner with No Name, you could really smack that wall on the outside and continue driving. You'll have damage on your car, but you could still drive. It's kind of like the Formula Challenge cars. They're really robust cars. But when Spa was in those conditions, it was Alex Cooper who took that win in the World GT, albeit in a BMW. I think he was in at that time. So, you know, which is regarded as one of the better cars in the World GT grid, as Cooper actually goes quite over the curb, going onto the back straight. But yeah, these conditions, I would not want to be one of these drivers at the moment. They're not comfortable conditions, and you really need to practice in these conditions to actually understand them, to know where the braking spots are, to know when you can put on power and things like that. There's quite a lot you need to learn, and if you haven't been practicing in these conditions, then well, you're going to fall over a little bit in the race, I think.
Well, of course, I mean, we just see it crash in the first corner there. Both of us, of course, took part in the Formula Challenge race, which was just last week, and we were very lucky actually to have sort of intermediate conditions, but not the sort of monsoon level conditions. And although I would say, yes, Oscar Hardwick still has a good chance to win this race, I mean, mistakes can come from anywhere, and in fact, Super Cup race, just the day after our Formula Challenge race, Oscar lost it of its own accord to the bus stop chicane, as we have a new person joining. That is Jensen Hill. He's left the game now, but my word, Jensen, that'd be interesting. There's people crashing all over the place though, and I can't help feeling that we are going to see a massive accident, of course. And we'll just remind the viewers of our red flag rules. We say there are rules. There's generally a guideline that we have when it comes to red flags. So if there's 5 or more retirements, is usually a number in the first lap, then we will more than likely have a full race restart. If it goes on beyond that, or if a similar occurrence happens, then we'll just say we're not going to be able to change this, we'll just continue the race. I reckon we've got a very likely chance here for a red flag, and although nobody likes a red flag, and I'm sure the people who benefit from the accidents will be saying, why did we have a red flag? Sometimes it's needed to give other people a second chance, because at the end of the day we do want to see all the drivers making it to the finish.
Yeah, well, you say no one really likes a red flag, but in that race one for Formula Challenge, I would have quite liked a red flag, you know, and a race restart, because I was quite in some nasty incidents. But for everyone that you please with your red flag, someone else will get very irritated by it, and it's just the way it works. You know, if a red flag needs to come out, a red flag needs to come out, and the whole grid needs to deal with it. The conditions here, if they're like this in the race, we do have a high likelihood of a red flag, but you've got to remember that these cars are robust. You know, you can have a hefty whack. I don't know how fast they'll be going up into. Oh, Cooper's lost it a little bit and keeps it out of the barrier. Good stuff there from Cooper. But you know, how fast will they be going into the first corner? Yes, quickly, but not too quickly. I think we'll have an accident there, but not a red flag worthy accident. It'll be a rouge where we'll have a red flag worthy accident, unless someone's loosened a drain or something. Cough, cough, pardon me.
I will comment no further on that. we do have a new person joining us today. Perry Vink, his name is, for Epic Racing Team. So they have 2 cars for the first time since, gosh, it must have been Hungary or something as far back as then. But we've got about 4 minutes or so left of warm-up left. We now have 22 cars in the serve, which is lovely, nice amount of cars. Let's quickly go through the drivers and constructor standings as they are. So drivers, Hardwick leads 283, Alex Cooper is on 225, Tom Parker's on 144, Pedro Milim, who is not here, is on 102, and Jordan Weeks is on 86. As we say, well, Parker, Cooper and Hardwick are the only ones still in the title chance. Hardwick can win it today, very unlikely that he will. Looking on to the constructors now, Midnight, they can't actually win it today, but it's safe to say that they have won the constructors because they are on 366. Milk, their closest rivals, are on 309, and well, they don't have any cars anymore. Timmink, who are now looking to try and get second in the constructors, on 172, and that's why we've had a load of switch around with PG Group drivers. So Tom Parker and Roy Schroten are now driving for Midnight, and Lucas Euler and Alex Cooper are now driving for Simic in an attempt to boost their points tally. Target's 4th with 136, no drivers here today. FA is 5th on 123 with 1 driver here today, and the possibility to go 4th. So still plenty of swapping and changing in the top 5 to, you know, come around, even though we have 3 rounds left of this championship. So we've got about 2.5 minutes or so left of warm-up to go, Lewis, and it's that time again where I think it'd be slightly unfair if I was to ask you who's going to win this race, because I think we're both going to probably say Hardwick, or
yep.
You can't really predict it because it's rainy weather. But from what we've seen of the drivers here today, do you think anyone is going to have a solid race? You know, as in, you know, they're looking really good in these wet conditions?
You see, it's really difficult to predict because, I mean, you can base it on practice times and who's doing good in practice, but the reason why I don't like to do that is because most of the time in these conditions in the race, you're totally unprepared. You know, you have no preparation for the actual conditions that there's going to be, let alone with driving around with 22 other cars. So it's a hard prediction to make, and I don't know. At the moment, Tom Parker's leading, so you know you kind of got to lean that way. But I want to see what Euler's going to do, because you know he's
from the back of the grid.
Huh?
From the back of the grid.
Yeah. But like you look at it, he's impressed in World GT. Yeah. Where he's second in the championship.
Taking a win.
Exactly.
You know, he's taking a win.
He's quick in World GT, and I don't think he's actually driven in these cars, has he?
He has. He drove last year for 3 races.
Well, wonderful. Well, you know, he's back in these. He's a good driver, and I want to see what he's going to do, how he can adapt to these conditions, and see if he's really what people talk him up to be sometimes.
Well, he's current champion. You imagine he'll do a good job. I do wonder how he binned his lap. I didn't actually quite catch it. Right, so Mr. Dave Carl Smith, our lovely cameraman for today, is telling us that, well, he says that he was new to the car. I'm not sure how much has changed from 2012 or 2013, because I was under the impression that we were using the same mod. But apparently he had wet on the front, and Oh, which is quite funny, but oh well, it's a shame that he didn't get much out of his qualifying. Perhaps his true pace is yet to be found out.
Yeah, I mean that is, I suppose it'd kind of be a bit unfair to say that was a rookie mistake, but I'll say it anyway. To the current Super League champion, that was a rookie mistake. To put the title. To be fair, I didn't know either that there was a difference. That usually if you're driving these open wheel cars and you select wets on your front, it will select them both ways. You have it on both front and rear. It will just be automatically done. And that's kind of like the
non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
But it was a rookie mistake and it's cost him. And we have 1% wetness as they're all about to head out onto the grid. It is apparently raining. Yes, you can see it on the screen. So hopefully we're going to be in for a really interesting race. This is actually getting wetter. It's 3% wetness now. Oh, this should be fun.
Well, first of all, I must apologise if I'm a bit laggy or such. It appears my internet's not going to cooperate me on this one. But what I think is going to be interesting is who's qualified on the wet setup and who's qualified on a dry setup. Because, of course, it's Parc Fermé for first race, and we might have a pit stop in this as well.
It's all right, James. I'll just cut you up when you go all laggy. It's fine.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, it is. That is going to be an interesting thing to see. But actually, one thing I wonder if people are going wets, dries, which one did Oscar Hardwick go for? I would assume most of the drivers on the grid would have gone for a wet setup based on the predictions for the conditions, which was predicted to be wet. It's currently 7% wetness. We've not been in the server for very long. It is going up, but we need to keep an eye on that. And see who impresses, because these conditions, the lovely thing with these conditions, for us as commentators and spectators, is that there's usually 1 or 2 drivers who completely shine in these conditions. You get it in Formula 1, you get it in anything with wet. Anything with wet in it. Go-karting, for goodness sake. But it's who is going to shine. Can anyone shine in these cars in these conditions with front runners like Oscar Hardwick, Alex Cooper, and all that load? So hopefully we should have a very interesting, hopefully, from my opinion, a wet race.
Well, it will be Oscar Hardwick leading us off from Alex Cooper, so 1 and 2 in the championship there. Tom Parker is third as well, so we're in championship standings there. Roy Schroten on his return is 4th for Midnight, with Harley Hamnett 5th on debut for CSG in 5th. Paul Joseph for Royal Blue 6th, with Paul Watkins for TWR in 7th. Scott Beresford for EGP is in 8th, with Sven de Vries for CSG in 9th. And John Watkins returning for TWR rounds out the top 10. Matthew Allington for EGP is 11th, with Mike Bell for Royal Blue 12th. Chris Williamson for Woods start 13th, with Christoph Lichtenstein for Dragon 14th. Nico Draconic for Innovision will start 5th, with Wupke Hoekstra for Pulse in 16th. Jason Muscat for Epic Racing will start 17th, with Jens Schutz disqualified already. So that's his evening after a down already. Menno Klont, therefore, will start 18 for Innovision on debut. Lucas Euler, back for the first time since 2012, will start 20th for Simming. And Jordan Weeks will not round out the grid, I should say, for FA Racing. That will go to Perry Vink, who seems to have hit the wall already. I see a nice little bump in his car there. So Perry Vink will round out the grid for Epic Racing. Hopefully he won't be doing as badly as his predecessors have done. Hopefully he'll be living up to the expectations that Jay Muscat has set for that team. Now he is... So the wetness, Lewis, has gone up 10% on this formation lap. I think we are seriously looking at a pit stop from dries to wets.
Yep, that is something that I think we're going to be looking for. I'm shocked that Dennis Schutz has been disqualified this early. I don't even know how he can get disqualified in the formation lap unless you turn around and drive the other way. But okay, right. So he probably went out from the pits through the red light, which is never a good thing. But they're all lining up on the grid for the start of the first race this evening, round 8, Spa. And hopefully we'll have a good race, and this could even be the WSS title decider.
This should be fun. 10 laps around slightly wet, or going to increasingly wet, 7 kilometers of track. Well, the lights coming on now, the engine revs will rise, and here at round 8 of the WSS, we are racing. And it's a very, very good start from Oscar Hardwick, actually. We've got Alex Cooper there in a solid second. Harley Hamlet's got a good start. He's up to 4th ahead of Roy Schroten as we head down into turn 1, having a look to see whether we've got any major incidents. Amazingly, not really, actually. A little bit push and shove, but everyone is safely through. We head up now into Eau Rouge. Oscar Hardwick and Alex Cooper miles ahead of the competition. Tom Parker still ahead of Roy Schroten, so Harley Hamlet has fallen back down to 6th there. Who had the good start? Whoopi Hoekstra is already, I think he's disconnected, that's why we've got a bit of timing issues. There we have Sven de Vries, and there we go, Whoopi Hoekstra confirmed to have retired already, that's a shame for him. We've got the 2 CSGs in harmony there, Paul Watkins just going for a move around the outside of Lecombe here, lovely move from Paul Watkins, cuts across nicely, plenty of other drivers going through now, but so far everything is nice and clean.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of contact around the first corner, but nothing too serious. Lucas Euler, though, made a really great start. He's on the back of one of the EGP of Allington. He's up into 13th place. He's actually just going to go on the inside of Paul Joseph there.
Paul Joseph.
Wow, great stuff there from Euler. What a great start.
From the penultimate of the grid, Lucas Euler is now staring at P11 of Matt Allington, and, well, he had a podium. He had 1 podium last year, if I remember correctly. He's going to, oh my word, he's always going to try inside of Pouon and Matthew Allington. And look, he is, he's still going. Super grip from Lucas Euler. And I heard a bit of thing behind. I don't think there was anyone spun.
Someone did just spin in the background. Didn't know who that was.
That was Harry Vink and Chris Williamson there. Yeah, Lucas Euler almost into the top 10 on lap 1. An amazing start, German.
Yep, indeed. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. It was Hoekstra with DNF. I just saw someone else in P1 and was a bit shocked. But no, it's just the timings going a bit messy. It's fine. That's why on your screen at the moment it says Oscar's in P2.
Roy Schroten. Sorry, Roy Schroten's gone. Off the track in it, as in, he looks like he spun on the exit of Stavolo 2 there, and he is down the order. My word, how far has he fallen?
17th at the moment.
He's 17th, dearie me. So, well, fancy going, oh my word, Oscar Hardwick almost losing it there. Very treacherous conditions here still, and Roy Schroten's just proven that.
Yeah, the thing is with Roy Schroten's position at the moment, where he's spun, it's going to cost him time all the way up that hill, as Hardwick does now retake his P1. And we've got a couple of people shuffling around. But that's why Matthew Allington's pit. Matthew Allington pits, Jordan Weeks pits. I think that is Menu Clont pits as well.
Right, it's 41% wetness, so are these drivers calling it?
Big moment there for Oscar Hardwick as he goes over, goes through Eau Rouge, and he's not going to be starting on the wets considering his pace in the previous lap. So you know, this could play really into the hands of Matthew Allington and the people who have pitted. So
absolutely,
this is where things get really interesting, is to see if this gamble pays off, because that's what it is at the moment. It is a gamble. It's 42% wetness out on track at the moment.
Let's see.
Scott Beresford is actually making a move. Have a look at that going down into
the
Lake
yeah. Oh, that's a lovely move. Well, I tell you what, Scott Beresford has been one to really shine in these wet conditions. I mean, you probably remember at Silverstone, for example. I can't remember who it was who he took up. I believe it was Eric Jalot, but he took him down the inside of Abbey in Wextions. Really crazy stuff. But I tell you what, 3 drivers pitted on that lap. Matthew Allington, Jordan Weeks and Matt O'Connor. I wonder if these guys have called it absolutely right. Because if they have, then they have pulled a master stroke here.
Yeah, because it's going to be costing every single one of the people who are on slicks a lot of time. It's now 45% wetness, as you see Oscar Hardwick on your screen coming through this this bending, twisting, turning section here, where he's just going to have absolutely no grip, and it's going to be costing him so much time in comparison to the wets. I'm actually going to have a quick look in a minute at the times of the wet people on the predicted on the wets.
Oh, here goes Scott Beresford on the inside of Harley Hamlet here for P6 and 7. That was, he almost got into Stavolo 1 there, but it seems like Scott Beresford is looking rather strong in these wet on slick tyres, and then he started on wet, so you can't really see much of the difference. But look, he's right on the back of Harley already. I think the key person to look for here is Oscar Hardwick and whether he pits or not. Because if he pits, then surely it is far too wet.
Well, Allington's first. He's just about to cross the second sector is Allington. I'm going to keep an eye on it and then tell you what the sector times are in comparison to the rest. I'm just going to have a look at what Hardwick's was. Hardwick's was a 1:11.8. Allington's is a a little bit more. Allington's was a 1:12. So we're at the current crossover point. Hardwick stays out. Does anyone else pit? I'm just going to keep an eye on that.
I'm not seeing anyone else pitting, actually.
No. Actually, Mike Bell's just pitted.
Mike Bell's pitted, right.
Yeah. This is where it could start playing into the hands of people, but you know, so it's quite an inconsistent scenario to be in, is where you don't really know where the conditions are going one way or the other. But at the moment, it doesn't look like there's really that much of a gain either way. Tom Parker actually set the fastest first sector, and he's on slicks at the moment. But I will keep you up to date.
The reason why he set the fastest sector, because the first 4 cars, so Hardwick, Cooper and De Vries, took a massive chunk out of Eau Rouge, really cutting the corner. And although there are anti-cuts there, it must be said that, you know, with these cars, they don't make much of an impact. But out of all these people, Hardwick, Cooper, Parker and De Vries, I would say, are looking pretty good. John Watkins too. Scott Beresford as well, looking very good. So I wonder whether these guys have sort of made specific wet setup catered to the dry tyres. I mean, we're looking back now to the likes of Harley Hamnet, he's struggling. Paul Watkins, even Lucas Euler is struggling. Matthew Allington catching on Nico de Koning, who didn't pit, I believe. He's 37 seconds off the road, so still plenty to play for. But I mean, it seems like the guys out front at least know what they're doing with these slick tyres. You know, they don't look like they're too ruffled by anything.
No.
Oh, sorry, here goes Sven de Vries, sorry, on the inside of Tom Parker into the S. He's going to take him around the outside. Lovely move from Sven de Vries. And on debut here for the WSS for CSG, he moves himself into the podium place.
Also, just saw DeConnick spun going down through Les Bruxelles, but he's got that back out onto the track. Allington was only a single tenth down through the first sector on Oscar Hardwick. So, you know, he's looking pretty good for pace at the moment. If it keeps improving this way, it should work out for him. But, you know, we don't know. He's currently down in 15th place, so he's just on the points at the moment. And he's got 37 seconds to P1. So that's a long time that he has up to P1 as he's dropping time. He dropped a little bit of time. And he doesn't look very comfortable out in those conditions on those tyres at the moment. So I'm just going to check if it's actually going down. It's not going down. It's staying about 43%.
This is really the crossover point from what we've been told. You can go on slick, these guys at the front are proving, or you can try it on wets. I think for Matthew Allington to gain loads of time here, he is going to require the wetness to go up to practice levels.
Like 47% is what it's just gone up to 48%. Oh. It's going up again.
The problem is though, is he going to run out of laps here? We're already lap 4:10 here, almost halfway through this race though.
Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's just to wait it out, see what happens. It's not going to be a comfortable few laps though for Matthew Allington, it must be said, as he's just coming down the hill into Eau Rouge. But nevertheless, to update you on your podium, you've got Oscar Hardwick, Alex Cooper and Sven de Vries all covered within about 4 seconds, and Tom Parker's not too far behind. Neither is John Watkins, to be perfectly honest, or Scott Beresford. They're all in quite a nice little clump at the moment.
Going back to Lucas Euler, he's just got past Paul Watkins there for P8 and P9. A lovely move around the outside, I should say, Bakum. But despite his early charge, he's not really made as much inroads. And he's going to go wide here at Les Bruxelles. Can he hold it back, or can Paul stick it up the inside? No, well held by Lucas Euler there, out keeping it. But I don't think he's comfortable in these conditions either. Paul Watkins. Hello, who's that? That's Harley Hamnet, and he wasn't looking comfortable at all. He slots down to P10, so Euler up into 7th, Watkins up into 8th, and Christoph Lichtenstein into P9, and in fact he's going to be falling back into the clutches of Roy Schroeter, who's trying to make his way back up the field.
Yeah, Harley Hammett didn't clonk the wall either side, he just kind of stopped it out on track. Lucky to avoid the people coming around just behind him, but yeah, it's not really a comfortable position in these conditions to be stuck there, because you've just done something which potentially someone else can do. Christoph Lichtenstein having a little bit of a look on the back of Paul Watkins at the moment. Is he going to make a little move down for Savalo? Oh, he is. He's gonna go for
well done. Wow, this is really close up, but
they're still going for it.
Well done. What a move by Christoph Lichtenstein. Your commitment around the outside of both Savalos, let alone one of them. And well, Paul Watkins hang on for all he was worth, but he can't stop Christoph Lichtenstein. And now the Lichtenstein has been let loose.
New P1.
Oh, Oscar Hardwick, he's had a mistake. I wonder if he lost it at the bus stop. Oh, hold on, Alex Cooper as well.
Yeah, Alex Cooper as well.
Oh, look at Scott Beresford as well. Scott Beresford's just taking Tom Parker. What has happened at the front?
56% wetness is what's just happened at the front.
I wonder if Sven and Scott Beresford on wet tyres. I was saying that those two were looking quite strong here. But look at this. I mean, Oscar Hardwick couldn't even make it through Rouge. Look at John Watkins. He's right on the back of Alex Cooper. Look at this. Look how far Tom Parker's got. He almost crashes into the wall there.
Oh, Oscar Hardwick's gone past Sven de Vries. Oscar Hardwick has gone past Sven de Vries, which I would class as debatable. He cut Eau Rouge as he was making that move. So that's going to be a debatable move there for Oscar Hardwick. But Sven de Vries is actually coming around the outside of Lake Com. He's going to be on the inside for this sector. And it pays off there for Sven de Vries, who retakes the lead here at this present moment in time.
Oh, and look at Matthew Allington. Look at Matthew Allington. He cuts the chicane as well, I noticed. But he's up into P10. I think that some of these drivers have taken the wet tyres without us realising here. And I mean, look at Scott Beresford. Scott Beresford's just taken Tom Parker on the inside of Le Bruxelles. I think, what's happening? This is nuts.
Only there was a magical way for us to tell what tyres they were on. But no, it's been some really good driving to keep them on track. I'd actually debate whether Sven de Vries is on the wet tyres or not, because I mean, in these conditions, it's 55% wet. He's keeping it on track. He's got some good grip. He's gapping Hardwick now pretty well. Here
goes Scott Beresford around the outside of Alex Cooper. My God, just done him around the outside of the S.
Beresford must be on the wet at the moment.
He must be.
Unless his setup's giving him some supreme grip in these wet conditions. It's 55% wetness at the moment. We'll just see if anyone pits. The only problem for Allington is that if he's on the wet and then a few people in front are on the wets, then he's definitely out of contention for the win, but he is 36 seconds down anyway. He's got Vink behind him. Perry Vink up in 11th place. Impressive. Allington's gone wide and dropped the position down to Vink as well.
There we go. Right, well, look at
John Watkins.
Look at John Watkins. He's starting to close now. Will Hardwick pit? We are on lap 5 currently of 10. Oscar Hardwick is going to go round again, and Sven de Vries will start lap 6. So Hardwick is clearly going to stick with his race strategy here, but I think John Watkins is going to get him here down into turn 1. If not here, then definitely into maybe Lacombe or something. John Watkins can't do anything here into the source, but look how much more traction he has got through that corner. And Oscar Hardwick goes wide, and John Watkins is going to be through there into P2 on his return. His highest position was 4th. He was only here for one weekend at Istanbul. He got a 4th and a retirement. And he's currently going to be into his highest position of the year. He's got Oscar Hardwick still behind him, and he will get the slipstream. Scott Beresford's there now in 4th, with Alex Cooper and Tom Parker still sliding around in 5th and 6th. Lichtenstein into P7, Watkins 8, Jordan Weeks into 9th, Perry Vink into 10th, and Matthew Allington there into P11. Lucas Euler going round again. And I don't think there's many other people who need to switch on to wets if they are on wets. I mean, well, right. So we're hearing that Lucas did for wets 2 laps ago, hence why he's actually behind Allington and catching at a rate of knots. So he's currently in P12. Yeah. Oh, Alex Cooper spun. Cool. So
yep,
Tom Parker goes through to 5, and well, this is not doing any wonders for his championship here. He's not going to be falling behind as much as Hardwick needs him to. But he's going to need a miracle here. Oh, and Hardwick's spun now as well. He's right into the clutches of Tom Parker, and Tom Parker can do his PGE group able mate here. But thing, and actually there we go. Scott Beresford then into the top 3. So we have people never on the podium, now on the podium in this epic Spa race. We're only halfway through as well.
Yep, it's these conditions as Oscar Hardwick's well out of shape going through Eau Rouge. They're almost drifting it through there. Is Oscar Hardwick and Tom Parker, and they're not looking even slightly comfortable. You know, Cooper doesn't look that comfortable behind. If these guys are on the slicks, then seriously they've got to think about pitting. The only problem is that Hardwick's already 5 seconds or 6 seconds off the lead. He's going to drop a lot more by the time he's crossed that second sector, which is just about to come up to. Let's have a look at how far he's 14 seconds, nearly 15 seconds off the lead. By the time he's pitted, he's going to drop so far behind. But then again, if he doesn't, then he's going to be in the clutches of anyone behind who's on the wet. So it's it's such a gamble at the moment. And I see that Lucas Euler has actually gotten past Matthew Allington. He's having a look at Perry Vink down in P10 to 12. So it's been a good race for Euler, to be perfectly honest. He's put it into the correct position. He's going to have a little look there for Perry Vink. So just keep an eye on Euler as Oscar Hardwick's rounding the bus stop chicane. Not pitting.
Neither's Tom Parker.
Sticking to his guns with this strategy. Let's have a look at Alex Cooper, who's gone really deep into the bus stop chicane. He's not pitting either. I think anyone now is just sticking to their guns and their strategy and hoping it pays off.
I've just seen Lucas Euler taking Perry Vink around the outside of Blanchimont. Excellent move from the German. Tell you what, I love his races. Oh, Matthew Allington gets stopped. My word, he was braking on the grass end. And he has to take avoiding action for Perry Vink. They're taking it a little bit slower than him through sector 3 there. But my word, I mean, we've still got the reverse grid to go after this. I mean, you really cannot tell what's going to happen in these next... Not only these next laps, but what about next race as well?
Perry Vink at the moment, he's going to have a little run down the hill. I don't think he's taken the right line through there. He's not got the grip as he's going down the hill. I think he'll have a little look into Les Cornes because he's not even going to attempt to move through Eau Rouge. It's not close enough. Just look at his line, a little bit slidey there.
That was
these must be uncomfortable conditions for the drivers. Having next to no grip. However, for the drivers who haven't spun, such as Sven de Vries, this has been an absolute driving masterclass in these conditions. These rookie drivers who are looking as to how to drive in these conditions in a tough car, seriously, watch these guys do it. They are putting on an amazing show at the moment.
Look at Jordan Weeks here. He's taking the inside there of Dr. Lichtenstein. Jordan Weeks was one of the earlier pitters, and I said he had pace. He's showing it now. He's well ahead of Matthew Allington. He's up into E7 after pitting, so he's making those wet tyres work as well. And here goes Lucas Euler around the outside of Paul Watkins. Around the outside of the corner of no name. It's not often you get many moves from there, and Paul Watkins is going to have to watch his rearview mirrors because he's got Perry Vink and Matthew Allington behind him as well. Amazingly, only one retirement from this race, and that was through disconnection. Whoopke Hoekstra, the only man who has retired. That's astonishing, really, considering the conditions that we've been in.
Yeah, as I said, these drivers, the thing is that it's not like it's the toughness of the car that's kept them in the race. I mean, yes, you've had quite a few contacts between some of the drivers, but you've had them spin and everything like that. But the drivers have kept them out of the walls, have kept them out of the difficult situation that's costing them a lot of time. Perry Vink having a look down the outside of Paul Watkins there. Matthew Allington's going to have a nice little look as well. But this is really showing the skill of these drivers. Is Sven de Vries gaps the leaders even more.
Look at this battle between 10th and 11th and 12th. Vink, Matthew Allington, desperate to get past the desperately slow Paul Watkins, who goes very wide there. Matthew Allington going even wider. He's onto the grass. Vink takes around the outside. Both of them going off track. They won't be allowed to get past, and in fact, they're not passed as we head down into the bus stop chicane. Craziness going on, and well defended by Paul Watkins into the bus stop chicane. These three drivers putting on an excellent show for the moment. Look at Perry Vink there, great exit out of the bus stop chicane. He's going to be looking to take Paul Watkins around the outside of turn 1. We're on lap 8 of 10 here, only 2 laps to go. And they are breaking down into the sources, into the top 10. Around the outside of the source, I see Roy Schroten's actually lost it. Perry Vink, lovely move around Paul Watkins there. and he's sort of leaving Matthew Allington for dead here. I don't think Matt's going to try and... Oh, will he take a move into a Rouge? It's going to be very risky if he does. He looks to the outside, Paving really catching... Oh, a bit of contact between Allington and Paul Watkins. And Welch going a bit wide. I think Matt probably should let Paul pass, because that was a bit of touch and go for both drivers to pass anyway.
Nearly squeezed him out, but they weren't side by side, so that's fair enough. But yeah, with that move, debatable. I think Allington should kind of give that place back, although they both did cut the chicane, but Paul Watkins doesn't care. He's going to try and have a look around the outside of the entrance to Les Combes, but can't quite pull it off there. Seems like Allington, who I would predict has been in the faster car at the moment anyway, just keeping ahead there. So good stuff, good stuff.
Jordan Weeks has got past Alex Cooper for P6 and 7, I've noticed. And where's Tom Parker up the road? Tom Parker is... Oh, I tell you what, he's not too far ahead of Jordan Weeks. Only 5 seconds in these conditions with the soft tyre. I'm
That's
really
less than 5 seconds.
I'm surprised these guys haven't pitted. At this rate, Oscar Hardwick's going to lose out to Jordan Weeks as well. I know we're on lap 8 of 10 here.
Yeah, but that gap to Tom Parker to Jordan Weeks is far less than 5 seconds. I know it's saying on the timer, and there we go, it's 2. It's 2 seconds at the moment, probably less than that, to be perfectly honest. Actually, it's 1.1. Jordan Weeks is going to take this move pretty quickly, I think. He's just got superior grip at the moment, has Weeks in that FA Racing car, so... sorry, Parker, but I totally agree. Oscar should have pitted, and he's definitely not going to get the championship today. That's pretty much all said and done.
That's for certain. Yeah. Here we go, Jordan Weeks. That's tense now, isn't it?
Yeah, but did you see Parker on the entrance to that? He was just in the four-wheel slide.
Oh no! A tag!
That was a tap.
Oh dear.
There you go, Jordan Weeks. Yeah.
Fair play.
Fair play.
But look at this, he's got Alex Cooper and Christoph Lichtenstein for company now. And I tell you what, Parker's front is going to be damaged. I wonder if that'll help him understand. And look who's in the back there as well, Lucas Euler. Lucas has almost caught up to his teammate. And in fact, he is on the back of Christoph Lichtenstein. He's looking very realistic, possibly P7 here. Or will
possibly
he?
Even higher than that, as Jordan Weeks is going to have a little look down the inside of A Rouge. Not going to try and make a move. That was fair driving there from Weeks. He made the mistake to push too hard. He's gone wide. That is a bumpy bit of AstroTurf there on the outside of Eau Rouge. Brave stuff there. But Euler, I did see, is past Lichtenstein. He's going to go hunting for some Simink action.
But see, I don't think he will, because Cooper's in the Drivers' Championship, isn't he?
That is fair, but you say that. It's... I think... towards quite a lot of people outside the championship is that this is all said and done. Lucas Oil's going to have a little look. Not quite going to do it. Oh, he is actually going to do it.
Oh, he is going to do it.
What a
He doesn't care. He doesn't care about drivers' championships, as Lucas Oil. He wants to make sure that he's the better driver than Alex Cooper. And he's up to P7, putting his own teammate at a disadvantage.
Well,
and
Lucas Oil may be arguing that he's the Super League champion. He can get out of my way.
And look, I tell you what, Lichtenstein is catching up to Cooper as well. I see Jordan Weeks has passed Tom Parker again as well, so... Well, we're on lap 9 of 10 here. Where is Sven de Vries? Sven de Vries is on the back straight. Got Beresford's in Stabilo 1. Oscar Hardwick isn't even at the S yet. And in fact, how close is Oscar Hardwick to... Okay, so Oscar Hardwick's a... Oh, and Euler's gone past Parker! Oh, God.
Euler is on fire.
This man's on a charge.
Euler is absolutely on fire at the moment. These conditions are really working out for him in these cars as well, considering it's the first time that he's driven this car for quite some time, especially in these tough conditions,
Lichtenstein!
45% wetness out there on the line, the racing line, so it's not easy conditions.
Lichtenstein's got Cooper.
That is side by side going up into Franchemont. So it's going to be... It's going to be a little bit tough. I think Cooper's got his card in head. Yes, he has. Lichtenstein has to give way there. But brave stuff to even go side by side around this track in these conditions at the moment.
Crazy stuff. We're on the final lap now, at least the leaders are. That being Sven de Vries, John Watkins, Oscar Hardwick and John Beresford in third there. Actually thinking about it, Oscar Hardwick possibly actually choosing the right decision here to stay on drives. I know he's slipping and sliding, but he is still in fourth position.
Yeah, he's got the drive control. That's what I said about halfway through the race, is that they've gone through this strategy. It's, you might as well just stick to your guns, really. The thing is that if the conditions are similar next race, they'll learn from this. They'll be aware. It's something that most drivers should be doing. Is in these two race scenarios, it's learning from one race to another, not just like round to round, literally race to race. There's two races in the evening, and the conditions can be quite samey between the two, especially here at Spa, where it could be quite very wet next time out as well, in a very short while. But absolutely great drive from Sven de Vries.
Oh, completely on his debut as well for CSG, and this will be their first win since that second race in Hungary with Sean Stroud. And talking of CSG, I do notice that the second of the CSG cars, the one who qualified fifth, actually catching up. Really hand over fist to Matthew Allington, who's managed to get past Perry Vink P10, but I don't think he's going to be P10 for much longer. Harley Hamnet looking much stronger through Lecoupe in the first sector in general there.
No, but fun fact, considering last time out we had every single driver who finished in race 2 of Monza, every single driver who finished scored a point. Here, in what I would class as more difficult conditions, we've only had two actual DNFs and one DQ, so great driving from the people on the grid.
Crazy stuff. Let's focus now on Sven de Vries. I know we've got the battle with Allington and Hamnet still to be decided. Let's look at Sven de Vries now. He probably had no idea what it was going to be like heading into this championship. Well, Mr. Sven de Vries, let me tell you now, he's got his headlights on already. We've got a new winner here in WSS. For the second week in a row, it's Sven de Vries for CSG Racing, their first win since Hungary Race 2. Wonderful effort there. Coming home for second, John Watkins. He's only been in WSS for one weekend as well. He's taken a podium on only his second outing. Scott Beresford, the improver, he only had 3 different positions to his name, 5th, 6th and 10th. Well, that's a podium, good sir. Good job to you. Oscar Hardwick, current championship leader, extends his lead, but comes home 4th off the podium. He'll be disappointed with that. Jordan Weeks got past everyone in the end. Comes home a very credible 5th after pitting onto wets. Lucas Euler there coming home 6th after starting on the penultimate row of the grid. Really good effort from the German there. Alex Cooper retakes Tom Parker. That's the second instant. That's the second instant of team orders we've seen between those two. Cooper finished 7th, Parker 8th, Christoph Lichtenstein, very impressive night. Harley Hamnet did get Matthew Allington in the end. P10 and P11. Perry Vink on debut, P12. Menno Clont on debut, 13. Paul Watkins, 14th for TWR. And then our contenders for the reverse grid pole is Mike Bell, Paul Joseph, Jason Muscat, Nico de Koninck, Chris Williamson, and Roy Schroten.
Yep, interesting stuff. It was also interesting to see the midnight getting out of the way of the simming, but when it was Lucas Euler in the actual teammate simming, there was no budging out of the way.
That was almost like a Sebastian Vettel mark of a situation, wasn't it? Multi-21. Yes. Screw multi-21. Let's just win and.
Yeah, well, pretty much. But you got to.
I do wonder if there'll be words.
It depends. The only reason why there would be words is if team orders were given in the first place. You never know. Tom Parker may have just gotten out of the way for reasons. Maybe he likes Cooper, but we don't know. We don't know what the actual situation was there. Whether there was team orders put into place. Maybe it was just like a gentleman's agreement pre-race. If you're close enough, I'll slow down, let you past. Things like that. Whereas Euler clearly was in a fast car. It was earlier on in the race, and Euler was in a pretty quick state at that point. Starting from the back of the grid, he just wants to take as many people as possible and prove himself here in WSS. Which, to be perfectly honest, winning the Super League, I don't really think he needs to prove himself to anyone anymore.
No, well, I will say this now. This has been one of the most exciting WSS races I have watched, and the fact that we've got a podium of people who've never been on the podium before really just shows how difficult the conditions were and how tactical everyone had to be. I mean, we are pretty sure that those guys at the front started on wetness, and boy oh boy did it work for them.
Oscar, yep, I just saw it. The Oscar was slicks all the way, so wonderful there
thought so.
from Oscar. That would explain why he didn't have any grip after about the third lap. Really good drive though from Hardwick to have in these troublesome conditions on slicks to have actually kept it in contention. Although my R factor is currently saying that we're on race 85 and a really long number. Like it's many digits long, so I'm not going to read that one out as we jump into the qualifying session. But that was a really interesting race one. There was a lot of action all the way from the start, and the conditions really helped spice it up. And that, spectators, is why commentators and spectators love a good wet race, because for drivers it's horrible unless you're a Sven de Vries, and you can plant it through it to win, or anyone on the podium to be fair to them. But for us spectators, you can have this really amazing race that just doesn't stop giving you action. There's always someone trying to overtake someone in the most ridiculous way, in the most hardest of conditions. And that's why we love it.
I don't think David Croft likes wet conditions.
Do you not?
No, he always says unfortunately. But anyway, we have the random finger for fear thingy to decide. So, let me just remind you how this works. So we've got the top 15 to 20 reverse grids. We're just going to decide that now. Your contention, or the people in contention, is Mike Bell, Paul Joseph, Jason Muscat, Nico de Koning, Chris Williamson, and Roy Schroten. And our reverse grid number is P17, which would put Jason Muscat on pole. Jason Muscat on pole. So the Epic Racing, I'm sure the Epic Racing drive has been on the front row before. But that, I mean, out of those people in contention, Lewis, I was thinking, if we get P20 here, Roy Schroten's in with a very good chance of winning a race. He's had 2 podiums before this season. And, being at the front, this is a real good chance for him. Not the case. And so we have Muscat and Joseph as the front row. There, and Bell and Paul Watkins, I believe it is. So really, actually, there's a lot of the people who are fast, not at the front. They are going to be starting at the back or in the midfield.
Yeah, which, especially if we get these mixed conditions, we're going to have an interesting race. But I mean, this is something that we were discussing after the Formula Challenge race, which started in race 1 quite badly. But race 2. For some reason or another, race 2 was generally cleaner than race 1, which is always a lovely scenario when you've got all these people so far out of place. No one wants to risk it. You think of it, you're starting from pole for the first time, although you want to win a race. If you've got so many people faster behind, then you're just kind of like, okay, I'll settle for some decent points. I'm starting on the right side of the grid this time. I'll be a bit more careful. And it's these tough conditions that make it interesting, and I think we'll just have to patiently wait to see where it goes, and hope for a clean start, and for me, hope for a wet race. I don't mind if David Croft doesn't like it. That's his his idealism. I don't care.
No, neither do I. I love wet races, and well, I mean, for the spectators here, we've just had a completely brand new podium. Where else, what other race would you be able to get that? Especially in one which you hear is absolutely dominated by the likes of Hardwick, Cooper, Parker, all the people that you'd expect to see at the front.
If the conditions weren't as they were, I mean, you could pretty much say that Hardwick was going to win the race. Also, I do apologise, I've got a little bit of hiccups at the moment for a random, unknown reason. But he kind of puts it in the right place as Hardwick, and that's what gives him the win every single time. He's got a good setup. He's got like a vision for the race where he knows where he wants to put his car, and then it's up to the driver in front. But we'll just have to patiently wait and see what Hardwick can do. What will Hardwick be starting? He'll be starting about 13th, won't he? So he's got
P17. Yeah, we signed about piece. Yeah.
P13,
yeah, this is. I mean, it's not exactly almost a full reverse grid. It's not like he's starting at the back. But even then, you look at Lucas Euler and how he was able to side his way through to what was it, P6 in the end, just behind Jordan Weeks.
Yeah. I do like the reverse grid race. It always throws up an interesting result. I, for one, have been on the good side of reverse grid. I started P6 and ended very badly. This is the thing, though, with the reverse grid, is that when you're a driver who's out of position, you really feel it. You know you're completely out of position, and all the people around you are a little bit faster than you. And it's all about calming down, keeping calm. I think we've discussed this before over quite a few races, is that keeping those levels, calm and keep focused on the road ahead. Quite a lot of the drivers are experienced. Muscat, he's done quite a few races before, and we'll just have to see how well he copes with a reverse grid pole.
He doesn't seem very confident. He says he's one of the slowest on the grid.
Yeah, but we
It's a
can all
shame.
say that. We can all say that we're the slowest on the grid. But when put into the right position, you'll find time. I mean, I think, to be fair to him, I'm not going to put him as a predicted winner.
No.
That's being fair from one driver to another. But he can seriously take some decent points from this. I think to definitely have the ability to score points from the position that he's starting in, and maybe a top 10. We'll just have to see where it all goes. It's just being cautious on that first lap, because this track, these conditions, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. It's just about keeping calm. I think Muscat will get top points, though.
I think we are going to see one of the regulars win next race, though, because I can't help feeling that the slower people at the front are going to cause an issue. I'm not saying that they're bad drivers necessarily, but I think that there is, especially in these wet conditions, such a speed differential between, say, the front of the grid and the back of the grid that, it's going to be really a lot of switching and changing. And although I hope we don't get many big incidents, but I just see one of those people in the midfield, one of the regulars, winning the second race.
I agree with you on the winner for coming from the midfield, and I know who I'm going to pick, which I'll get to in just a minute. But with the incidents, I mean, we all thought there was going to be a first lap incident massively in the first race, but it worked nicely. It worked nicely for the drivers. Getting into it worked nicely for some drivers. One being Euler. But it was a clean start. It was a clean getaway from a lot of the drivers. There was only a little bit of a bump and run from some drivers, but it was all good. Looking at it though, I'm going to pick Oscar Hardwick, of course. He's not won a race this evening. However, statistically, he's won a race every single time from pole. I discussed that earlier on. That every single time he's got pole, he's won a race. In that evening, not necessarily the first race. He did win the second race in Italy, and he did start from pole there, I believe. So
I also believe
Oscar. He's learnt from the conditions, and I think he's a real good contender. He's only 13. He's been lower down and won the race before, and I think overtaking's good here. He's got 10 laps to scythe his way through the grid. He's done it before, and I do think he'll do it again.
I'd have to agree with you, and I
I'm
believe
logical.
I'm right. Yeah, I believe I'm right in saying that Oscar Hardwick is the man who's won the most race twos. I know he's won the most races overall, but if any of you, I think if any of you have the care to look on the GPVWC wiki in the 2013 WSS section, I think he's won out of
He's
7
won 4.
twos. I believe he's won 4. Yeah.
4 of them.
So yeah, it's enough said, really, isn't it? He really, really excels in race 2, despite being put back.
Yeah, I think he's won more race 2 than he has race 1, so that's always good. That is actually correct. He's won more race 2s than he has race 1. Hardwick, I think he's going to be adding another win at the moment. We'll just we'll have to wait and see. Minute 30 left of warm up. Don't really know if anyone's out on track. I don't see anyone moving around. Actually, I see Mike Bell driving around.
Excellent.
Don't know if it's for any particular reason or if he just wants to have a little bit of fun driving around. I think he's going to try a practice start. Yes, he is in tough conditions. But I have to see how it unfolds.
I also noticed that things have sort of mini kicked off between Oscar Hardwick and Sven de Vries, who are arguing over that incident which we saw where Hardwick cut the chicane, or what was it, cut Eau Rouge, and overtook Sven de Vries. Hardwick's adamant that he didn't cut, and
He did.
well, he did. There was no two ways about it, unfortunately. But well, I think, to be fair, Dave Carr Smith, who is our administrator, they really puts the best foot forward in that if you've got an issue, protest it. You know,
Yeah.
I have had petty arguing situations before. They don't get anywhere, really.
No.
There we go. Got about. Oh, sorry.
No, it's just about the petty. I mean, he should, if he feels that it was wrong or anything like that, then yes, of course, go protest it. It's fine. It was caught on the broadcast that he was. I don't know if it was actually caught on the broadcast, but we saw it. Me and you saw that he cut the chicane. To be fair to him, a lot of drivers were cutting that chicane. Now that's not saying, like, oh well, it's fine because everyone else was doing it. It was fine. I don't think he was on purposely cutting that chicane. It was just kind of like the car.
Attention drill, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
A lot of the time, you just can't control his drivers, your cars. You've got to go with it, really. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. A lot of these drivers at times don't really have the most amount of control. So I will be fair to him there, but he shouldn't have tried an overtake after doing that.
Right. So it's raining on a certain, but it's only 1% wetness here at the start. So I wonder whether we're going to get a similar situation here. Oh, is it stopped raining, actually? I think we might be in for a dry race, actually.
It's cloudy 100%. It's not raining at present. It's 2% wetness on, 2% off, as they all start the warm-up lap. But yes, it's cloudy. I should keep my eye on it, and we both need to keep our eye on whether it starts raining out on track for this round, for this race 2.
Indeed. So it is Jason Muscat then for Epic Racing who leads us off in pole position. And there's the two Royal Blue cars of Paul Joseph and Mike Bell, really in for a good chance of points here. Paul Watkins will start P4 for TWR with Mene Bont for his first round within division. P5 we then have Perry Vink, P6 for Epic Racing team, and Matthew Allington 7th for Enterprise GP. Harley Hamnet, who had a real good last minute charge for CSG, starts P8 with Christoph Lichtenstein P9, and Tom Parker for Midnight will round out the top 10. We then have the two Simics, Alex Cooper and Lucas Euler, Devon and P12 with John Wink starting P13. Oscar Hardwick, Lewis's favourite to win race 2, will start P14 with Scott Beresford starting P15. As I notice, it does start coming to rain once again. John Watkins will start P16 for TWR with Sven de Vries, race winner now. CSG starting P17. Nico Jaconic will start P18 for Inhibition. As I see, the rain is starting to come down a lot heavier
8%,
now, actually.
8% immediately, it just jumped up to 8%.
This should be fun. We then have P19 Chris Williamson for Woods. And Roy Schroten after DNFing last race will round out the top 20. Woodkey Hoekstra after retiring through disconnection will start P21 for Pulse, and Dennis Schutz, who disqualified himself somehow on the formation lap, somehow he will start this race right from the back in P22. Oh dearie me.
Now, all I'm going to say is that two things. Number one, Dennis Schutz, he learned from his first race to his second race. I think he may have done the same thing. I don't know if, looking at it, both mistakes, they've been simplistic mistakes. Like with the puncture last time out, he may not have known that because he's not driven in R Factor a lot. It is going up even more. It's 60% at the moment. It is going up quite quickly, 17%. Now, this is the other point I was going to make. The drivers who went out to grid first, they would have seen it was 1% wetness. Now, learning from the previous race, it was 1% wetness when they started their warm-up lap, and it jumped up to 14% by the end of it. It's now 17% as they're heading down towards through Blanchimont. So, these guys are actually heading up to bus stop chicane. They haven't finished the lap gaps. The grid's pretty spread out at the moment. Muscat maybe waiting a little while in the grid. But yes, those are the 2 points. Bit wet, getting wetter, 17% wetness at the moment, still raining, and I think quite a few drivers on the grid currently will have the wet tyres on.
I love Spa.
I love Spa as well.
Where else would you have the weather that doesn't make its... I think the only place which can't make its mind up in weather terms worse is Britain. And just like... But here we go then. We are about to start race 2, and if there's anything like race 1, it's going to be an absolute corker. Who will pit? Will there be pitting? Who started on the wets? Who started on the slicks? We're about to find out. The red lights come on, the engine revs will rise, and here for the second time here at Spa-Francorchamps, we are away. Lightning start from Paul Watkins 7-4. Up into second already, and look at Perry Vink as well. He's had a decent start. We head down into La Source hairpin. Jason Muscat does need the race. No, he doesn't. Paul Watkins straight through there. Excellent diving move from the TWR driver. Just having a look around. Perry Vink spun. Oh, dear me. Who's into... Oh, my goodness me. Massive crash. Then Spa 98 Porsche style. Oh, dearie me. And, well,
I'm not going to say against red flag.
Nobody's retired yet. Nobody's retired yet. Everyone's still going. And Paul Watkins and Jason Muscat have flown off into the distance there.
Joseph P3,
you got Menno Clont people. Matthew Allington on the inside of Menno Clont. He's now up to people. Look at Alex Cooper. Look at Alex Cooper. He's up into P6 as Matthew Allington goes wide across Lacuma. He's going to lose a chunk of places, I think. Or does he? He's going to rejoin ahead of Jordan Weeks there. Good start from Jordan. I imagine he's going to get past Matthew Allington here at the Bruxelles. Roy Schroten up to P8 already. Goodness me. Oscar Hardwick up to P9. Jordan Weeks down the inside of Matthew Allington. Good move there from the FA driver. John Watkins down up to P10. Tom Parker P11. Sven de Vries up to P12. Wupke Hoekstra P13. Williamson 14th. Nico de Koning currently running out the top 15. We have 2 retirements already. Lucas Euler and Perry Vink, who caused the accident.
Yeah, not too good from those two, but only 2 DNFs and 1 5, so we're off to a good start there. Unfortunately, some of the drivers who got caught up in the incident, we did have a few, as we're seeing some go side by side going into the S's, but they're all good through that second sector. Oscar Hardwick though, up to 9th place, good start from him. It's kind of like a lot of looking at moves at the moment.
Whoa! Jordan Weeks! Jordan Weeks he went for an opportunistic move on the inside of Cooper, lost out massively. And John Watkins has just gone around him, and I believe he's going to get mugged by Park here, so he's going to probably find himself outside of the 10.
Watkins has his lights on from what I can see, which isn't the best thing in the world, although I don't know how much of a difference it makes to these drivers in these conditions. I'm not driving with car lights on. Oscar Hardwick, no benefit from that, going up to 8th. He's having a look at the back of Roy Schroten going into the bus stop chicane for P7. He switches back to the inside, dives down, and you can see that just in the background as Hardwick's actually gone past Clont. From what you've just seen, Hardwick there battling out. He's got 2 people ahead of him. Oh, he's going to get a little bit squashed. Heading down into La Source. Is he going to make a move? Brakes on it early.
He's going to go for the middle.
On the outside of Allington. Gets squished a bit more.
Oh, he's going to get the inside here! Oh, this would be an excellent move if Hardwick can put it off. I don't think he will, though. No, indeed he doesn't. And he's going to be a bit behind Allington unless he makes a move up into the Source. Not the Source, even Eau Rouge, even. Nope, nothing doing there. He is going to have the slipstream of not 1 but 2 cars currently. And he's looking a lot more confident through there, in fact. Oh, my goodness me. Allington now to the outside. And oh, my word. Allington, he just seemed to forget there was a wall there. Did he just punt Hardwick there?
Maybe just a re-entrance onto the track. I don't know. It didn't look like it was an intentional full-on punt, but nevertheless, Hardwick up there. Cooper got past Clont again, because Clont got re-past him down through La Source, I think it was. But Cooper now into P4, Oscar Hardwick P7, having a look down the inside of Roy Schroten through Le Bruxelles. Oh, there's a little bit of flash of lights there. Interesting.
Well, it was bash. I'm not sure. I mean, there was a bit of touching and stuff, but I'm not sure how eagle it was really.
Yeah, well, nevertheless, Clont nearly lost it through P1. Oscar Hardwick is going to take advantage. Yes, he is. He's going to drop it down into P5. Oscar Hardwick absolutely scything his way through the field at the moment through other people's mistakes. He's 9.1 off the lead, heading through this tricky right-left section, this right-left chicane. You know, quite not really high speed, but it's medium speed through there. Difficult conditions to drive them in as they head up through the Sector 3 split. There's 8 seconds covering your top 5 at the moment as Oscar Harbeck is trying to break through to the lead of the race. As we're seeing Allington, I think that is Allington, and the FA of Jordan Weeks. Jordan Weeks is now passed up into P8 as they head into Blanchimont. Good move there from Jordan Weeks.
Allington goes wide again. He's dropping like a stone. He doesn't look
that was
comfortable at all.
Liechtenstein.
That's Liechtenstein, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
He's yet to make it back from the pit. Or back to the pits, I should say, even. Yeah, let's have a look at this here. Alex Cooper's now on the back of Paul Joseph. Podium positions here. And Jason Muscat is not too far up the road from Joseph himself. You can see Paul Watkins there just heading off down the road as well. And so let's have a look here at Alex Cooper now. He's on the inside of Paul Joseph, and I believe he is indeed ahead on the straight of Paul Joseph. Yeah, he's already into the podium position. So Alex Cooper going about his work nicely. We still have.
I was just going to say, I think Cooper may be on the slicks because of the it's 25% wetness, which I think is before. I think it's before the switchover. Is it not? It's when the slicks were faster in the race. He's actually having a look on the back of Muscat. He was our pole sitter, wasn't he? Was Muscat? So
yep.
He's actually, to be fair to Muscat, keeping position well. He's kept it there for 2 laps. Unfortunately, he's not in pole. He's not in the race leading position at the moment. But he's got a very quick Cooper behind him, doing a very good job to keep it into his current position. And I am about to sneeze.
Please go and sneeze, sir. I'll take over. So Cooper through the corner of no name, looking very solid, it must be said. And it's the switch over here for WSS is around the high 30s to low 40% margin. It's around then where it's really touch and go, where you're getting a loose speed. And Cooper, if he is on slick, will be loving these conditions at the moment. I don't think Jason Muscat is on. And it's that Oscar Hardwick almost lost it. He almost lost it around the edge of Joseph, but he is going to be right onto the back of Cooper now. And I wonder whether these two will come to blows now, Cooper and Hardwick.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out. I think Hardwick is gaining on Cooper. He is gaining on the lead, though. So that's good for Hardwick. Not so good for Watkins. I saw someone just drop back there. I wasn't sure who that was.
I think that was Clont behind Weeks.
Yeah, well, also Annington is right on the back of Parker for P9, P10. But I don't think he's going to make a move. Pardon?
Those Sven de Vries.
Yes, Sven de Vries, not too far behind them either. So we've got a close battle going on right now. Just look at Paul Watkins. Must have lost quite a bit of time because Cooper. Paul Watkins gone wide. Hard spin. Cooper dives into the pits.
This is interesting. They think it's time to switch. And so Muscat re-inherits the lead of this race from Oscar Hardwick. I think he's going to do the same strategy that he used last time, but it's interesting that Cooper and Watkins pit. So does Roy Schroten, so does Paul Joseph. Right.
Yeah, we've got quite a few pitters. Now, I'm going to say this to Hardwick, is that if you are not on the wets, what are you doing? Looking at the last race, the wets were a good strategy, and if he is on the wets, this is all his to play for. He's got Muscat in front of him, who said he's not the fastest driver on the grid. Oscar Hardwick could possibly be on the wets. He's a very good driver. I wouldn't be surprised if he was on the wets. Just battled it through the conditions at the moment whilst getting through people. He's a fast driver, but we'll just have to wait and see if Hardwick is on these wet tyres. If he is on the dries, this could pay off for him, as we just see Cooper massively cutting Eau Rouge on your screen right there. To be fair to him, he is on nice new slick, nice new wet tyres, I would assume at the moment, and they're not really up to temperature at the moment. He's not used to them.
Fair play to Jason Muscat. Right, so we must apologise for the cameras at the moment for not changing to anything. We're going to go a bit radio because our cameraman has unfortunately lost all sorts of trolls and stuff. So we are getting that sorted. We will keep you briefed with the situation up front. So Jason Muscat, he's taken Pooh on nicely, but not nicely enough. Hardwick is going to look to the outside of the S here, and Oscar Hardwick, oh wow, well held by Jason Muscat, wow.
He's
Can
still
Jason
there.
Muscat hold it into Stabilo? He's still there, really. This is excellent defensive drive from Muscat. Can Hardwick do it around the edge?
Muscat is
Stabilo,
still
no,
there.
he can't. Wow.
Excellent stuff from Muscat. Oh, a little bit of a tap there from Oscar Hardwick as he gets through into P1.
That's the second controversial move.
Yeah. Debatable. Muscat, though, not letting Oscar Hardwick get away with this. This is seriously impressive for Muscat at the moment. We are back. We do have cameras back to Hardwick, and you can see Oscar Hardwick sitting in P1. Got on past Jason Muscat, who Muscat's really eager on his brakes, I've noticed. He's braking really early. Nevertheless, though, sitting in P2. Great stuff.
Right, so let's just give you a quick brief of what is happening up and down the grid. We're at halfway stage here, this race already. So Oscar Hardwick now leads controversially from Jason Muscat. Weeks is there in third with Tom Parker fourth. John Watkins up into fifth again. Wow, really? Oh, good race from John Watkins. Fender Reese up into sixth. Menno Clont seventh. Alex Cooper is just taken Matthew Allington.
Fallen through the world.
Okay, so Matthew Allington
DNF.
is disconnected. That's a real shame for Allington, who's looking good. So Alex Cooper then up to 8th. Whoopke Hoekstra into 9th, and Roy Schroten now into the top 10 with Harley Hamlin 11th, Paul Watkins 12th, Paul Joseph 13th, Nico Draconic 14th, and Chris Williamson into the points in P15.
Yeah, Allington probably won't be happy after that. Not really sure what specifically happened, but I saw him dropping through the grid, and when I cut to him, there was a lovely view of what's under the track, which is a skybox. So, lovely intrigue there. Muscat, though, not dropping too far off the back of Hardwick, dropping back as much as we'd expect from a driver who doesn't particularly think he's quick, but, keeping it up in P2 for 4 laps and actually taking it to Hardwick when Hardwick was side by side with him. Seriously impressive. Hardwick, though, looking like he's going to run away with it at the moment. The conditions are 45% wetness, so the people on the wet tyres are going to start to benefit. Oh, Muscat's dropped it.
That was Jordan Weeks. That was Jordan Weeks, I'm sure of it. That was a tap. Instead of going to the inside of Muscat, he went to the outside, which in my opinion was stupid. We just got a replay.
We just got a replay on screen. That is debatable stuff there from Jordan Weeks, and it's caused Muscat to drop to P3 and have Tom Parker close down on him. Not too far behind. There's about 4.5 seconds between the pair. So I think that was a bit unfair there for Weeks. Not even to slow down afterwards.
It's pure stupidity.
Yeah, that was pure stupidity.
I mean, we saw Jordan Weeks tapping the back of Tom Parker in race 1. I mean, Jordan's not been the cleanest driver at all this season, and he shows a high-level driver like Tom Parker the respect to slow down. Just Jason Muscat, who's doing a fantastic job here for epic racing in general, and especially here today, he just gets left for dust. I mean, it's not only stupidity, it's just rude.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, to be fair, I didn't see the incident from the correct angle, and I think there'll be the people dealing out the punishments need to seriously have a look at that closely, because from the angle that we saw, it didn't really look necessarily as if there was a complete tap between the two of them, but nevertheless, it was completely unnecessary that Weeks was off the track. He may have just lost the rear end, though. I mean, this is what I'm just saying, is that we don't know enough about the situation to cast complete judgment over it, but nevertheless it's not looking good in the favour of Weeks.
Right, so we are currently on lap 6 of 10 here. We've got 3 retirements so far. Perry Vink, who caused the WSS version of Spa 98, Lucas Euler, who was caught up in it, and Matthew Allington, who disconnected. Currently in the race by 3 seconds now is Oscar Hardwick from Jordan Weeks. Got Jason Muscat still there in 3rd. Tom Parker in 4th. They're going quite slowly, actually. He's not exactly making any inroads on Muscat himself. We then have John Watkins in very close proximity, actually, with Sven de Vries, and you can see how slow John Watkins is compared to Sven de Vries. through both Le Bruxelles and the corner with no name. It's almost like Sven de Vries is having to completely lay off the accelerator here.
Yeah, which means I think Sven de Vries is completely on the strategy that he was last time, which is just start the race on the wets as we're having. I'm not sure who that was. It was one of the Epic Racing cars. Let's have a little look. Is it? Nope. No. Okay, no. Maybe it wasn't an Epic Racing car, and it's just me messing. No, it actually was. It actually was. They were lapping someone. They were lapping someone. Apologies. It was just.
Oh, okay.
It was completely me dropping it.
Right, apologies again, we have lost cameras once again, so we're going radio once again. If you're interested about Jordan Weeks possibly catching Hardwick, not really happening. He's lost 2 tenths over this lap so far, so he's definitely doing a good thing. But we are now going to look to John Watkins and Sven de Vries. So Sven de Vries is coming down the back straight now, and he's looking to the inside of John Watkins here. He's going to possibly look for the inside of Blanchimont for a move. John Watkins holding on nicely though, able to put his car in the right place to defend off de Vries. I see Cooper going wide in the distance. We have another retirement in the form of Christoph Lichtenstein. I think he's just called it a day. John Watkins, though, is holding on well to Sven de Vries. And these two have got to be careful, because as they exit the dust stop chicane, Alex Cooper is closing ever quicker as we head now onto lap 7 of 10 here for these guys.
Yeah, this is actually this is good driving from Sven de Vries. He's patiently picking his point as he makes a move down into the sources on the inside of John Watkins. Is going to try and get the cutback. He's got a better drive out of La Source, but Sven de Vries is just pushing him over, probably a little bit too much, but he's found the gap. John Watkins has found the gap as they head down the hill. He's on the side of the concrete wall. Sven de Vries, they're going to go side by side through Eau Rouge. John Watkins gets a little bit pushed out, but Sven de Vries gets through into P5 in front of John Watkins, who's actually lost a place to Cooper, who's now up into P6.
Yes, indeed. So, well, that was, I mean, I hopefully cameras were on that, because that was a fabulous move. Well played, actually, to John Watkins for keeping it through there. A lot of other drivers would have lost their mettle through there. Not John. He's really showing a sense of growing maturity about him as a driver ever since I saw his debut over in
Cooper on the back of Sven de Vries, though, as they just lap. Dennis Schutz, there's going side by side through Le Bruxelles. Alex Cooper is on the outside of Sven de Vries. Looks like John Watkins having a look in the background, but can't do it. Cooper is still behind Sven de Vries at present.
Absolutely looking the faster driver is Cooper, as we now look to the inside of Pouon. Cooper not able to do much though. It seems like it's on the exit here, and oh my word, look how much more Cooper can push through there. Easily the quicker driver, and is he going to look to the outside of the S to make anything here? Sven de Vries defends nicely, but we've seen people get a lovely cutback here. Sven de Vries, though, well aware to the tricks of Alex Cooper and defending his possession really, really nicely, actually, is de Vries from the USA, although he sounds Dutch. And I tell you what, wherever he's from, he's doing a good job currently in this seat. Definitely, you can see why at least CSG have picked him up as one of their new drivers. Yeah,
indeed. It's good that you've all got your cameras back so that we can see what's going on. Cooper, though, having just eyeing up the back of Sven de Vries. I think Alex Cooper is in the fast car at the moment. He's going to have a little look through Blanchimont, but good stuff. He backs out of it. He's not trying to make a dumb move. As Sven de Vries goes a little bit wide, this is going to give Cooper possibly a run down into the bus stop chicane, but he's backed out. He's braked a little bit too early. Cooper, no, Sven de Vries has dropped it, but he's caught it back. Good catch,
wow.
Sven de Vries.
That was one of the best catches I have seen in sim racing this year. He basically took that to his advantage, parked it on the curb, and he's still able to defend up here into the source unless Alex Cooper can go around the outside. No, he can't. He outbrakes himself. And Sven de Vries keeps the position once again. Excellent driving from the USA man. Really, really awesome stuff.
The USA man, also known as an American.
USA man. Indeed.
But nevertheless, back to what is going on. As you can see on your screen, still Sven de Vries leads Alex Cooper for the P5, P6. Muscat now has a little bit of company from Tom Parker behind, who I'm not a fan of either of these drivers, but Muscat currently is the underdog. As they're going side by side is Sven de Vries and Alex Cooper into Les Corps. Alex Cooper's got the advantage at the moment as they head left, but Sven de Vries is going to have the inside as they turn right and go back down the hill. He's going to lean on Alex Cooper as they go down the hill. They're still side by side heading down into Le Bruxelles.
Oh my God. Mano, these guys, it's like they're a wedding couple walking down the aisle. You just can't split them. Heading now into the corner with no name. Sven de Vries is just about ahead, and he's going to keep that position.
Oh, Muscat's gone wide at Pouon. Tom Parker's going to get through. Oh,
yes, he is.
Muscat. No.
Jason.
You see now this shot
Cooper's got through at Pouon. I think he used a bit of grass there. That was he used a bit of grass there. And he's gone wide. Sven de Vries has gone wide as well, though. Alex Cooper's kind of speeding off into the distance there. That was using the run-up area.
I'm going to say, although that was quite the move, as Muscat's actually going to have a little look back at Parker, but I'm going to keep you up to date on that. Look at them two. They're together. Looking at the move between Cooper. Cooper is like Grosjean in Formula One. I think was it on Massa? Was that he went off the track as Muscat has actually gone back.
Jason! Come on, Jason! He's managed to take Tom Parker through Blanchimont. A little bit of a kiss there, but Jason Muscat, he's on fire this evening. He's retaken P3, as you say, very early on the brakes. And can Tom Parker do it around the outside? Yes, he can. Lovely move, and I think, Jason, if he wants to take that P3 back nice and securely, he's going to have to be a bit more late on the brakes than that as we head on to lap 9 of 10 for these guys. And driving.
Muscat is driving absolutely perfectly at the moment. He's putting his cars all in the right position. It is brilliant stuff there from Muscat. And if you're watching this, we want more. We want more. This is really good. This is really, really good. Yeah, but Cooper, it's like the move of Grosjean. It was an impressive move, but it used more of the track than is available.
Yes.
And for that reason, it is not it's not a great move. I think it's like moves that we've seen throughout other sports. Through MotoGP, there was one at Laguna Seca where everyone was like, "Oh, it's an amazing move," but it was off.
That was off track.
It was off track. That is the thing.
Don't know why. No, I never got why that wasn't punished. It was off track.
That's MotoGP for you.
Yeah. But not saying that MotoGP's bad, of course. But,
no, but you know. It's not like it was an impressive move. It was brave, but it's the same as this thing with Alex Cooper and Sven de Vries. It was brave, but Cooper's gone wide. Le Bruxelles. Sven de Vries follows him, but it was off track. That's all I will say to this, is that it was off track. I don't think it should count.
Right, we are on lap 9 of 10 here, almost on to the final lap. Can you believe it? That was crazy. We're up to 6 retirements now. Euler, Venken, Liechtenstein, Schutz and Mike Bell all gone. The only man left out of the points is poor old Scott Beres, who caught up the first lap incident, only coming on to lap 9 now. A good 13 seconds behind Menno Klont there for Innovision. Fair play for Oscar Harwick now as we have a look at him. I've actually been looking at the gap, and Dawn Weeks has brought it back down to 2.7 seconds, but I reckon this is a bit too little too late now.
Yep, indeed, and we have just been told that there's been an excessive amount of cutting tonight, and there will be a full race review of every driver to determine where the limits were unfairly exceeded. So I think that's fair. Harley Hamnet, I just cut to Harley Hamnet and he's gone completely wide at one of the S's. So, not having too much grip out there, but Oscar Harwick's driven a very good race now as he heads on to the final lap, head through La Source for the last time this evening does Hardwick. He's got the FA Racing of Jordan Weeks in the background. Actually, Jordan Weeks has closed up ever so slightly over the last little while. I don't think it's enough to even challenge Hardwick now. Race prediction was Hardwick, and it looking that way at this present moment in time.
And that's another cut, see? I mean, the thing is that the race directors have been more... Well, they prefer to give grid penalties rather than time penalties in races now. But in light of cutting like this, the proper penalty is time penalties. I do wonder whether some of these drivers are going to get severely punished for this, because I mean, let's say that Oscar Hardwick gets a 20-second penalty here. That would put him just ahead of Park. I mean, the thing is, we don't know full extent of cutting, but
Yeah, you say that, but let's be honest, if Oscar Hartwick's going to get one, so is about half the other grid.
Yeah.
And so what becomes a penalty? I mean, think of it, if you have the entire grid get a 20-second time penalty, all it does is adds onto the race length and pretty much no one moves up a position or into some points. As much as I would like, not that I would like to see someone get a 20-second penalty, but I would like to see some people gaining points if they haven't cut over people who have. It's quite a juggling act, and even if you give 5 place grid penalties, and you give one to everyone who's cut for the next time out when we go to France, when we go to Manicourt, I believe is the next one.
Yes.
It's not really going to be the biggest difference. It's going to move someone up, maybe 5 places, for people who haven't cut. So it's going to be an interesting evening for the people handing out penalties.
It certainly is, but at the end of the day, whether it's through controversy or not, we still see Oscar Hardwick out front. And as things stand, this will make sure that he maintains his lovely little statistic for the season, which is that he has won half the races. This will be his 5th race to win of the season. He was a little bit disappointed with 4th in race 1, but as he rounds the bus stop chicane for the final time, it will be Oscar Hardwick for the 8th time this season. He wins. And it's another win for Woods Racing, and the two of them are certainly looking to have a lovely partnership as the years go on. Jordan Weeks gets another 2nd place to his name this year, but still no win, which I'm sure he would love. Tom Parker gets P3, and a decent job from him too. Is he going to slow now? I wonder if he'll slow for Cooper. Well, no, he's not. It doesn't look like it. Muscat just about holding on to 4th there. Fabulous drive from him. Really, that's one of the drives of the day, I think. Jason Muscat really, really deserved that. Cooper comes home 5th. Ben DeVries 6th. Roy Schroten 7th for his first point-scoring race since his return. John Watkins will finish P8 ahead of his father, Paul Watkins, who led that race for a good couple of laps or so. Wupke Hoekstra, after a disconnection, race 1, will come home P10 for some more points for Pulse. Harley Hamnet will finish P11 for CSG, so more good points than there. Paul Joseph is just running Blanchimont now. He will finish P12 for Royal Blue after starting on the front row grid. It looks like Nico Jaconic will finish P13 solidly. Clont and Chris Williamson, though, are in rather close proximity to each other. And I do wonder whether Williamson can get Clont here. They're battling for P14 and 15, so it's smidgens of points and singular point for what it's worth. And I do wonder whether Chris Williamson can get him here. Oh, no, he can't. Unfortunately, he was carrying a bit too much speed. So Menno Klopp will take P14. Wilson will take 1 point for P15 for Woods. And Scott Beresford, well, got caught up in the massive first lap incident. And this will be after the elation of a podium in race 1. This will be his first non-point scoring race of the year.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but these things happen. You get caught up in other people's incidents, and it's unavoidable sometimes. There's just nothing really much you can do. It's just wrong place, wrong time, and unfortunately, it's cost him severely. But we've seen some impressive drives today, and I'm actually going to ask you this time, co-commentator, lead commentator.
Okay.
Who is your driver of the day?
Oh, Muscat. Well, I think it's unfair to say one driver over the entire race because both races saw very different conditions. So
the best driver from race 1, then the best driver from race 2.
Okay, the best driver.
Because I know who I'm going to pick.
Race 1, in my opinion, I would say Sven de Vries. Race
God
1.
damn it!
On debut, yeah. Well, and then Jason Muscat in race 2.
Yeah, same as mine as well.
Yeah, so it's quite clear who were the best drivers. A debut win on debut for Sven de Vries, calling the strategy perfectly. Jason Muscat unfairly knocked down to 3rd when Weeks, we believe, hit him, but he still got 4th. Considering he was saying, I'm the slowest driver on the grid, so on, so on, so on. Oh, here we go. Jason Muscat has confirmed in the chat, if it wasn't for Jordan punting me off. So I think, there was contact there.
Yeah. I would say that. That's really unfortunate there, but nevertheless, it was a great drive. To put him into P4, even though it wasn't a podium. Yeah, it was still a good drive. It was still a good drive, and I think he's got to look at this and go, that was some decent points. Move this on into Manicourt.
Absolutely. So we are now joined by race 2 winner Oscar Hardwick, and the first win, of course, for Woods Racing. You further extend your championship lead here. Tonight has been a crazy night for us, a spectator. For the driver, there's been a lot of questioning about cutting, about poorly judged moves. From your perspective, you obviously avoided the entire first lap incident in race 2.
That's an interesting perspective, because I had damage on all four corners from it.
Really? Well.
Yeah, I was right in the middle, and all of the people with their Arca brakes and brains turned off ploughed into me, so my car was down on straight line speed and wouldn't turn right. So, yeah.
Well, there we go. I mean, can you just give us an overall impression of how this race evening has panned out for you? Because I mean, I do believe that you are missing out next week, next race or next round, aren't you?
I don't think so. I think it was more likely to be the Nürburgring round for Super Cup that I'm missing.
Right.
But it's touch and go. I'm hoping to be there for the next World Sports Series race at Manicourt.
But of course, another win to your name, further extending your gap over Cooper. You haven't won the drivers just yet, but gap by which you need to win it is getting smaller, ever smaller by the race.
Yeah, I think if it's at the end of the first race at Manicourt, I've got a 75-point deficit, then I've won the drivers.
So very good then.
Yeah, well, given the circumstances, this evening went probably about as well as it could have. Me, Alex, Tom, in race 1, it looked relatively dry at the beginning, and I knew that the cut-off for the slick was fairly late on in the stint, so late on in terms of the wetness, 35 to 40%, and then it skyrocketed to 50 on lap 4 and put us all in a pretty dire situation. So fourth was a good save from that, all things given. I didn't expect the win, but it looked like a few people had made the same mistake again of sticking to the slick, only this time they pitted early. Trying to avoid that, I started on the wet tyre because it worked first time out, and you've got to take the risk if it worked for everyone else, and it did work out for me. Very disappointed that there's this ongoing issue with people with their Arca brakes. I slowed right the way down for the incident exiting turn 1 on in race 2, and I only lost the car because of all of the people ploughing into the back of me that didn't try to turn right or left or slow down, and it's a bit rubbish. I mean, there's got to be a certain amount of general awareness, and like you said about various cutting and whatnot, I think you've got to, say okay, fair enough. If you miss Eau Rouge a couple of times, it's really tricky in the conditions, but yeah, I saw other drivers that had been overtaken completely off the track, and I did my absolute best. I had to be aggressive race 2, but I don't think I moved anyone out the way or did anything malicious towards the other drivers, so I'm happy with how it went. Well done to Jordan for keeping me so honest in that second one, and yeah, I'll keep fingers crossed.
Well, we hope to see you then next time. Andy Cole, well done on your win. I think talking of driver standards, I think we'll actually move on now to Jordan. I mean, on the face of it, a really, really positive evening for you. Fifth in race 1 after calling the strategy perfectly. As Oscar already said, keeping you very humble, keeping him, I should say, very humble in race 2 with yet another second to your name. But one little move has been caught on camera, which was your overtake on Jason Muscat, in which he was very vocal about it in the chat room afterwards, about you clipping the back of him and costing him what he thought was a very good chance of a podium. What was your view on that incident?
Well, I was on the curbs and on the AstroTurf. I mean, what else can I do there? If I stamp on the brakes, it won't make much difference. I'm just going to carry on sliding towards him, and I'm carrying so much more speed than him. So, yeah, what can I do? Even the brakes won't help me. So, and I'm that much.
Sorry.
And I'm that on the edge, and also in pure frustration at that point of the race. It's just, yeah, it was a
much more down to the conditions, you'd say.
Yeah, with those conditions on the curbs and the AstroTurf, it is really difficult if you touch either of them. So,
well, I mean, let's look at this more positively then. I mean, obviously apparently we're going to have a massive review of both races in terms of cutting and such, but as it stands, Faye has cleared target racing. You're now into 4th in the constructors. Unfortunately, Scott Sovic wasn't here to help bolster your points tally. But does 4th in the constructors now look secure? Do you think you might be able to push on to try and take the now defunct Milk team, or try and challenge Simic at all?
To be honest, that's more Timu's case. I don't really care. All I care about is just drive and get the job done. That's what Timu asked of me, and that's what I shall do. I was a bit... To be honest, I never really realised that Scott was around racing. And again, I didn't really care, because I'm here to race, and I'm here to take on any challenge. So bar was a challenge in these conditions through Eau Rouge, mainly. But yeah, I just got in the car, raced for myself. That's all I need.
Very interesting point, actually. So, well done on your positions. Anyway, and we hope to see you next time. And Manny Corn, we will finish off our interviews with Tom Parker. So, another P3 in the bag for you. Another case of team orders. Your choice of letting Alex Cooper through in race 1. Overall, I guess another successful evening for Midnight Motorsport as you pretty much cruise into winning the constructors.
Indeed. Yeah, it was fun. Race 1 was hilarious, considering me, Oscar, Alex were all in the slicks, and then we still ended up quite high up. So yeah, race 1 was definitely a lot of fun, that's for sure. Race 2, I think the term butt mutilation is quite relevant in my case, because I was the first one to turn up to Spa 98, and I was the last one to leave it, and I still managed to get third. So I was down, I don't know, I was down about 15 kph on the straights. God, steering was horrible. So I mean, without that, even a win could have been possible. But I'll take a third. Like I said, Midnight cruising towards the title now. So anything, just need to get them points really.
So are we expecting more Pro Cooper driving for the next couple of rounds then? Because clearly Oscar Hardwick has made presence a bit more known, definitely pulling away in terms of the drivers. Or are you thinking more, is it time to sort of just focus on cruising home in Midnight and just getting as many points as you can personally?
Well, Alex has been claiming to me, don't let me pass for like the last 4 rounds. And luckily for him, I'm a very nice guy. So I'll let him have places. It's like I said, I think it's Monza, he's in the title hunt, I'm not. But yeah, maybe after this round we can take a look at that. Maybe I can have a few more points and podiums. But yeah, I just want to win. I just want to bloody win for the end of the season. I don't care. I've come third so many times. I just need that couple more attempts to get onto Alex and Oscar. But, we'll see. I'm happy with how I did today.
Perhaps Magny-Court will be your round, Tom. Everyone loves good guy Tom, don't he? So thank you for joining us. Well done on your results. And so, well, Magny-Court is definitely one of the most challenging tracks on this calendar, Lewis. Myself and you were practicing around there for Formula Challenge. In these Porsches, I'd imagine it will be nightmarish. Many more Spa. And who knows what the weather can bring up as well.
Yeah, Magny-Court, not one of my favourites on the calendar. It's a tough track. There's some high-speedy, chicaney bits which are hard to judge. It's not going to be a fun race for some. For others, though, they'll be able to pick up some decent points, maybe even that elusive win for some. But as anyone may find out, and that's to wait 2 weeks until it. And unfortunately, I think I'll be away for it. So I won't be able to see, and you'll have to shout me about what happens in the championship, and I will be watching when I get home.
I will do that indeed. So it's left to me to thank our cameraman for the evening, Dave Carl Smith through Trial and Tribulation, Lewis McGlade for joining me as co-commentary. I've been James Kirk, and from all of us here, it's a very warm goodbye. See you in 2 weeks.